Hey everyone, I'm John,
Hey.
and that's Kaylin, and we're the Questers too. This episode, we're in St. Augustine, Florida. Specifically, we're visiting Castillo de San Marcos, which is the old Spanish fort in St. Augustine, and a little later we'll show downtown St. Augustine. But specifically, we came to this part of Florida to see the Castillo. Reason being is that St. Augustine, for those who don't know, St. Augustine is the most continuously inhabited European city in the United States. Castle was built somewhere around 1500s, but there actually had been previous forts to that. And for a kid about Kaylin's age, this was like sort of oh, cool, we get to walk around and look at all the cannons and all this other stuff. So, it's definitely a boys thing, looking at the fort, etc. It is an older fort. There is some new construction on the premises, just basically to reinforce the old structure, etc. As you can see, you have the wooden handrail there because they don't want people leaning over and falling, etc. Um, but for Kalen, he thoroughly enjoyed it, and actually, Kalen will tell you a little bit more.
Um, this fort was built in 1585. As you can see, some of the bricks and scratches are the original stuff from the war they had in the 1600s. And in in this you can see that how people used to sleep around that time. Um,
So anyway, this is actually, I believe, the old prisoner barracks, but this actually is the old way that some of the soldiers used to sleep in the fort, which is sort of communal sleeping, etc. It probably wasn't as luxurious as you see it now, and I don't use that as lightly as some people would take it. But luxurious was, um, you know, now would be considered, sort of mundane or, not as desirable. But back then, I wouldn't be surprised if they actually slept on straw or some type of grass or anything like that. Um, but it is a national monument, so there is some fee charged, but usually there's some type of discounts you can find like AAA, etc. And we spent probably what 2, 3 hours here. Um, there are some guided tours. But most of the guided tours are going to explain a little bit more detailed about the history. And for a 9-year-old going on 20, um, the experience was definitely worth taking more at your own time going through it. Um, and you'll see, as you see through here, you're seeing various sort of reproductions, etc., various parts of the fort itself. It is a two-story fort. Some of it you don't see, and some of it I just couldn't get access to. But seeing, it's kind of interesting seeing like this part here, cannon exploded 1702. Um, and it's easily accessible. I would not say it's accessible for a handicap because some of the areas, the steps are, I would say, higher than what we're used to domestically. But seeing all the cannons and seeing all the steel imprints on the cannons, it was actually quite interesting and amazing. So, hey, let's take a look at this in one of the areas.
Probably not getting a lot of light in here, but this used to be the old utility where they used to store the old cannonballs, artillery, and everything else. In fact, it's very dry in here, not
and
very moist and damp. You can't really see much. Probably can barely see Kaylin. There's the light right there. See the light? So, but yeah. And somehow the stone here is here. Don't know why. But
let's go back.
all right. And I think little critters got in here too. As you can see,
Yeah.
there's there. You probably can't see that one, but there's one there. So, yeah, I don't know if this is going to come out, folks, but here's another one of the old storage areas. Yeah. Something over here. Old storage beams and whatnot. Of course, there's Kaylin, and then there's the only light that we have in the room. I like this because you get to have, here's the crawl space to get actually into the artillery room. I mean, most of us who are a little taller, no, there isn't a lot of space. Isn't that correct?
Yep.
Daddy had to get on his hands and knees to crawl in there, right?
Yep.
So
You're
yeah,
too big.
yeah, I'm too big. But if you're taller than 3 foot something, you actually have to get on your hands and knees and crawl into the artillery room. So let me just take a wide shot of it. And that's what it looks like, folks.
So back on top side, as you can see, there are various cannons from the period, and they all have imprints from the Spanish crown, and actually some of the imprints are from Mexico as well. And I thought that just looking at the imprints and actually the dates on the imprints of the cannons was quite impressive. There isn't yes, of course, we actually had to take pictures of the La Necesaria, the bathroom. There really wasn't any, sort of seating arrangement that could have been photographed. But it's definitely one of those areas that take your time, look at the sights, just look at the ground around you, because
And look at the history.
because you never know what you might see, or, there. I know that I had seen in another site, I had seen a brick that was made in 1910, even though the site was a brand new site. And also too is that, and you'll hear it. I'll run the video of us being topside, or the audio on the video. It was extremely windy the day we went, and so you can hear the wind, and we had to hold our hats and make sure they didn't fly away, etc. There's Kaylin waving, wave. So, but it's one of those things, and like I said before, take your time, because each little artifact that you can actually touch and feel and stuff has its own little history to it. How many soldiers were attached to that cannon? How many soldiers died because of the backflash from those cannons? They have the large artillery, the small artillery, distant artillery. So it's not one of those things that as a historian, as a trained historian, that I sort of fell in love with. I mean, at some point I'd love to come back, but as life gets in the way, sometimes you just can't. But I definitely recommend this site for families, but I wouldn't necessarily take a toddler here. I just think a toddler would be too young. But I think a kid around Kaylin's age, maybe 7 and up, would definitely find some interest in this site. And like I said, just once you get on the grounds, you can walk around and see the lookouts, see the ocean. Just take your time, enjoy yourself. I mean, I definitely would recommend it being sort of a day that's cooler. Now, here we go to St. Augustine itself.
Like this. As you can see, there's the smallest street in the United States of America.
Well, here's a long view of it, ladies and gentlemen. So it's not very big. I would say maybe 50 yards or so. And you definitely can make a little jaunt down it. And also, too, is I saw a lot of these bricks. Graves, Birmingham, Alabama. So, they don't make these bricks anymore. One thing about downtown old St. Augustine is that it's very touristy. Saw too many shops that sell the little trinkets and T-shirts and stuff like that, so I really wasn't all that impressed. I did, however, like the architecture and how the lanes were very narrow, etc. Just to see the old sort of downtown area and the sort of the walkable areas, sort of very European, etc. But for that angle, I think it's worth it just to go down there and probably get something to eat. But definitely the castle is probably going to be your primary reason why you're in St. Augustine. That's it. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.
Bye.